Hey guys, Yxlarb here, bringing you back some more Forza Motorsport 4. And today we're actually doing a drift build of, surprisingly, one of my favorite drift cars, the Corvette C1, the original Corvette from 1960. This might not be what you consider a drift car, you know, being a convertible, being a classic car with horrible suspension, etc. But I'm actually going to make it work today. This is really going to work. Now, first of all, this is completely stock at the moment. We're going to go through my whole process when I build a drift car. The paint is fine, as is, just, you know, straight up black all over. You can't tint the windows in a convertible in this game. I don't really understand why. Because to me, it seems as though the front windshield also gets tinted when you tint any other car, but whatever. Now, the reason why a convertible would not be the ideal car to drift in is due to the frame strength. Since you don't have that top frame going over it, since you don't have a roof, it's not as strong. It's not as structurally sound. So, yeah. The reason why I want to go with the 2002 Chevy Camaros is that it doesn't have too much more power, but it weighs considerably less, like 60 pounds less or so. The displacement is bigger, but it's still much lighter. So we're gonna go with that. In terms of aspiration, I'm gonna leave that alone for now, because I want to make this an A-class. That's part of the reason why I'm not getting the ZR1 engine. So we'll just see kind of how it goes. When it comes to aerodynamics, obviously that's important when it comes to drifting, but here with this particular car, you don't have too many choices for aero. So I'm going with this, kind of a really mean look. You know, you got your splitter and lack of headlights and chrome. Exactly what I want. I'm going to do the same thing to the rear, de-chrome it. It looks kind of silly, I think, the rear of this particular car. The hood, no, that's not a thing. We don't do that in this world. Not on this channel, you're not going to be seeing that. Now, tires are one of the most important aspects of a drift car. Your stock tires are not very sticky at all, and obviously race compound is just unbelievably sticky. Drag compound is other things. We don't deal with that here. We'll talk about that on a later date. Now, it can be kind of difficult to pick the tire, because if you go, you know, race tire compound, it's going to be harder to slide. But it's going to be way too easy to slide with a stock tire compound. So I think we're going to start off with sport and just kind of see how it goes, because I do expect to have a lot of power in this thing. So we'll see. Front tire width, you actually want it to be very skinny. You want it to be a very responsive turn-in, and having a skinnier tire helps with that. Since the rear tires do not turn, you want those to be as wide as possible. We're going with a 305 here. Pretty insane. I've never seen anyone rock one of those before. Not in a car, at least. Rims I've already chosen. I don't know if this is fix or fixe or whatever. I just like the look of these. Not at this size, but as you can see, lightweight wheels, 45 pounds off on all the corners. That's fantastic. I'm actually going with the biggest size you can, full on 20s. Now, your wheel size does affect how well you can drift, but this car is actually very easy to drift even when stock, so I'm not too worried about that. Plus, I'm not doing an all-out serious drift. You're a pro if it takes you 20 minutes to make a perfect drift car. I'm not a pro, not at all, when it comes to this sort of thing. Full-on clutch. Now, so you might remember from the previous episode when I did my Honda Fit track build, I talked about how the race transmission in modern cars just ruined everything. Well, look here, it barely changes a thing with the launch. Why is it so bad in modern cars? I don't know. Someone let me know. But the most important thing in a drift car is the tuning. You can't just throw on all these parts and then go out and have a perfect car. You want to have, you know, a race differential, race suspension, race brakes, just so you can adjust all of these things. Obviously, they help out at first, but they also help out in the long run. You want to be as low as possible. 1 1/4 inches is not that much, but we'll be able to get it even lower than that later. We want anti-roll bars to make us stiffer to begin with, same thing with a roll cage, but we're going to make it even stiffer later on. You actually want to be very light. The lighter you are, obviously the easier it is to slide. And that's kind of where the the three issues with traction are obviously the tires themselves, the weight of the car, and then how much power you're pushing. So that's kind of what I'm worried about at the moment. There we go. Intake manifold, exhaust. And I'm thinking I am going to do some aspiration, actually. It doesn't add very much, which is upsetting, but we'll be able to upgrade it. I'm going to go with a single turbo, less spool time. We have pretty big displacement, but it'll be fine. Fully upgrade that. Intercooler, of course. Oil and cooling. Flywheel. I'm actually still a little bit off. I wasn't expecting that. I thought that going with the V8 Camaro engine would put us on the map, but whatever, we got plenty of other things. Now I'm just gonna play around and see what gets me what I need. Oh, look at that, so close. Displacement, no, that's a little bit too much. I might have to lower other things. No. Let's get rid of part of the fuel system and then just see what other things we can do here. Oh, look at that, so close yet again. 601? Okay. Now, perfect. Flywheel. Drop it once, add a little bit of weight, but there we go. We got about 630 horsepower. We're making basically as much power as the ZR1 engine was. So you might think that whole thing was a complete waste of time, but whatever. By the way, I'm not going to go too highly in depth on what upgrades I do to future cars, just because it takes so much time to do. I mean, as you can see, we're already almost 7 minutes into the video, and all we've done is just upgrade the car. So from now on, I might do speed ups or something, but there you go. This is what the car will look like. It's pretty mean, if I do say so myself. I mean, you would not expect this thing to be a drift missile, but even when stock, it's got some stuff to it. All right, here we are at the track, looking like the Stig and all that. Here we are. Now, you can drift with an automatic car. It's just so much easier when you're playing manual, honestly. And now I'm just going around and testing real quick. Let me lower the volume on my TV. It's a little bit louder than I expected. Yeah, there we go. See, we got it going on. Let's see if we can make this whole thing nice and easy. You might hear my controller clicking quite a bit as I'm going through the turns. Yeah, there we go. Actually, really responsive. Oh, look at that awesome drift, huh? Didn't make that perfect, but there we go. Yeah, so as you can see, this thing just was born to be sideways, I swear. I've never seen one of these used as a drift car before. I mean, they're just way too valuable to even risk destroying like this. I mean, you're not going to find parts easily for this, I guarantee you that. Yeah, so here we go. This is not a video for... Oh, going off there. Yeah, this is not a tutorial on how to make a drift car specifically. This is not meant to show you how to become a drift champion in Forza 4. I am just not that guy. I do love to drift just for fun. I don't do online competitions, so I don't listen to the whole 650 horsepower max, no race compound, etc. Some of you guys might be familiar with those rules, but that's not the way I play it. Now let's get into the tuning. Tires are, one of the most important things, as I said before. And having a lower PSI allows you to max out at around 30 when you're constantly under pressure. This is just how they are as they sit. So having the rear down to like 26 and the front to like 28 or so should be perfect for this particular application. I don't like to mess with the gearing. Alignment, actually you want more camber on the front. I like about negative 1.5, maybe negative 0.5 on the back. It all depends on the car, like I said, and you can tailor this to your liking. Just the way I drive balances well with this application. I don't like to mess with the toe or the caster. I like to make the car a little bit stiffer, but not too much. Same thing with the springs. Ride height, lower it another, quarter of an inch or so. Stiffer damping. Bump stiffness. Aerodynamics, if you have the right parts on, you can, adjust to this sort of thing. But it really doesn't matter all that much because we're not really cornering in the traditional sense. So I'm not actually going to mess with that. As you guys know, I like to have 60% of the braking force on the front and 120 on the braking force itself, 120% pressure. Now, this is one of those things that's definitely up to you. Just do what feels good to you behind the controller / behind the wheel. Differential for the front, I like to go to 85 and 75 for the back. A traditional drift car, you want to be rear-wheel drive, and you want it to be... It doesn't necessarily have to be powerful, but it does make it easier to slide when you have a lot of power. In real life, it works a little bit different. This isn't a perfect simulation, but yeah. Front engine rear-wheel drive is what you typically want. It distributes the weight really nicely, And you might think that having a 50-50 weight distribution might make it difficult to drift. It actually makes it a little bit easier for you. So there you go. Oh, there we go. I'm going all over the place. I'm just trying to get used to this. This is what you do. Go into test drive, apply your tune, and then just go around the track a million times, see what you can do, see how it feels, just slide back and forth, see how controllable it is, see if it's easy to get out of situations that could kill you. Yeah, there we go. I'm going to tinker around with this a little bit more, maybe make some things softer. It might be a little bit too stiff right now. It doesn't feel as... it feels a little more rigid than it did before, even though I only changed it slightly. So that's what's great about this. You can tinker around with this for a while, and you can turn any car into a drift car, really, as long as you can make it rear-wheel drive. You can have all-wheel drive drift cars, but it's not really drifting all that much anymore. It's something entirely different, and it's not as easy to do, in my opinion. Alright guys, it's time to put our application to the test. Our fully tuned Corvette C1 is now going to be in a race, a multi-class race. And the reason why I'm picking one of these races is because in a multi-class race, you start at the head of your pack. So it'll make it a bit easier to drift and race at the same time. It can be really difficult to actually try to use a drift car for serious races like this and actually drift during them, but that's what I'm going to do. You guys can laugh and do whatever you want, because I'm going to be laughing too, don't worry. I know this is ridiculous, but it's entertaining too, so let's see what we can make of it. We're going on the Maple Valley track again, which is the one we tuned this thing on. It's where it was born to be, plus it's a car made in the US. It's exactly what we want. Now, since we're the faster class, we're going to be starting out in front, of course. Oh, come on, bro. You got nothing on this. I'll show you what America can do. There we go. Oh, I didn't realize this was a reverse track. I totally didn't realize that until just now. Yeah, this is actually going to be really tough. I don't think I'm actually anticipating a victory, especially since I'm not used to going on this track backwards like this. But we'll see what I can make of it. Oh, there we go. Yeah. Alright, we got it back together. We're still going to win, guys. Don't you worry. We're in 6th place in our class, but that's okay. We're the only ones drifting here, so we'll get it together eventually. At least we're getting some good slides in, right? That's all that matters. It's just a show. If it was about getting there first, I wouldn't be drifting. Typically when, I do a drift build like this, I'd have a lot more time to actually spend tuning and getting used to driving the car before taking it around a serious track like this, but I actually didn't spend very much time because I got a deadline to meet. And it's not like I'm not bringing this car back on a later date either. It's definitely coming back for something. We don't really know what yet, but we'll see. Now in a typical drift race, you'd actually be drifting around not only the corners but also the straights, kind of like this. However, I'm not very good at that, as you can see, and I've never played an online race like that before. I've never done an online drift race. I just do it for fun, and I'm just doing it around the corners. So I have an actual chance of winning. I don't want this to be basically just another test drive. I'm actually putting myself to the test. I'm going to beat these Corvettes and Ferraris and Ford GTs. Here we are, my corner. This is where I feel at home. Come on, keep it together. We got 4 laps, so we got plenty of time. Oh, we're not in last place either, so that's definitely a good place to be. 5th place, second to last, man. That's where it's at. Alright, here we go. This is where we're going to pass at least one. Oh, man. Really poor. Really poor. I did that at the beginning of the race, too. It's a shame. But anyway, guys, like I said, not being an expert at drifting, I'm not going to be doing a lot of videos like this. This is just a for fun thing. I'm sure you can find a lot of guys, a lot, on YouTube who can do this, obviously, a lot better than me, but also do it as their main thing. That's what they do. Especially since Forza 6 is out now. Actually, the day right before I released the Fit episode, it came out, so that's a shame, because now this game's even more outdated, and I still don't have an Xbox One, so, those of you who still love Forza 4 and don't have an Xbox One either can enjoy this game with me, and I'm okay with that. But Bosniancheese and I were actually supposed to meet up today to work on our cooperative walkthrough. As you can see, that hasn't happened quite yet. It's still way early in the day, but yeah, man, college has been easier. It's my 3rd year, and yeah, we got it going on. And I haven't really done videos full time ever since my senior year in high school, so you can kind of see why I'm a little rusty at my commentary. But I hope it's not too atrocious, because I do a lot of PowerPoint presentations and speeches in my degree, so you got it going on. And now, you know, I already know victory is not possible, so I'm just going crazy now. So don't you worry. I'll make this last a little bit entertaining. But obviously, since it's not possible to win in this class, I can beat the other class, of course. No problem. But we're actually just going to finish this lap and then be done with it. Now, as you can see, I've got something here. This Corvette C1 is obviously very capable of drifting. I mean, I can make these long sweepers, no problem. If someone messed around with the gearing, made them, you know, longer gears, and maybe mess around with the final drive a little bit, and tuned them to perfection, you could have an absolute perfect drift car. But that's not what I have here. Definitely not. But it is a pretty cool looking machine. I mean, you don't see too many convertibles out drifting. I mean, I have. Not classic, you know, almost 60-year-old cars doing it, but it definitely does exist, and there definitely is a place for them in my heart. But anyway, guys, obviously, I'm not perfect at drifting. I'm not perfect at building drift cars. Do not assume that this was an instructional video. This was just for fun. And if there's something specific you want to see, put it down in the comments. Tell me exactly what you want to see, because for a limited time only, I'm accepting all requests. I will be doing everything. And when I say that, I don't mean, you know, I'll jack off in front of you. That's not what I'm trying to say. Request a specific Forza episode, give me a theme you want, give me a specific car you want, etc., and I'll try to incorporate them all in the coming weeks. But I'm going to be spending a lot of time doing my own ideas too, so don't expect them to be out as soon as you request them. Just give it some time and then maybe you'll see it. But to see it, you're going to have to subscribe, so go ahead and do that. Anyway, guys, get ready for some cooperative walkthroughs with Bosniancheese. They're coming your way soon, and I'll see you guys in the next Forza Motorsport 4 video.